Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. He, 39. Me, 39. Mistress, 29. Best friend, 39. We've been together for 14 years, living together for 11. He came and told me that he was in love about 3 weeks ago. I was surprised at the lack of ducks I had to give at receiving such information. I did love him, but maybe my love has always been conditional, and its survival depends on being reciprocated, because it literally vanished the second he confessed to me that he was in love with another woman. He didn't want a separation, but to maybe open the relationship or let his feelings for her subside. I said it was over. It was like I never had feelings for him ever. He was taken aback by my indifference, which I thought, the audacity. Did he want me to be hurt and suffer? I told him that he should be relieved that he didn't cause pain. Instead, he has been sulking since. Last Friday I got home and the mistress was there, sitting in my kitchen sipping my tea. I felt nauseous because, seriously? I told him that this wasn't civil at all and to never be in my home again, or I would call the cops. I went to my room and I heard her yelling at him for not standing up for her. Then I heard her say something very curious. "Why haven't you kicked her out yet?" He was trying to tell her to lower her voice, whispering, "Later. We can discuss this later." She left and he came to me apologizing. He said, "We didn't have S here if this is what you were scared of. She just dropped by because I was working from home today." I told him that he had until the end of March to move out and to find somewhere to be during the weekends. This morning I changed all the locks. From now on, he isn't allowed in my place during my working hours. So if he starts later or finishes earlier, he needs to wait for me to come home and let him in. But the mistress's words stuck with me. So during the weekend, I've been stalking her social media. I think she thinks that he is rich, or at least that he owns my apartment. I think she also thinks that my parents' summer house and boat are his. Unfortunately, the loser has taken her there, probably bragging about his wealth because her hashtags were all about the good life. I was telling my best friend all of this, but she was more agitated than indignant on my behalf. She told me that he was a scum not telling the mistress the truth. I agreed. I know, right? But then she said I was no better, not explaining to her his situation either. I was dumbfounded, but she was serious. I told her that it wasn't my job to bring the mistress back to earth. My best friend got very angry and demanded that I gave her mistress's username so that she could warn her. "No," I said. She called me a bigger douche than he is then. I don't know what's going on with these people. Have they gone mad or have I? When did our moral compass go askew like this? Can someone tell me that I'm not insane? 100% he wanted his cake and to eat it too. The minute OP wasn't upset, he realized he was going to lose both of them because his facade was about to crumble. It's not OP's job to sort out the situation he has put them all in for the sake of the mistress's feelings. What about OP's feelings? That woman knew he is a married man. OP owes nothing to her. I'd also reconsider this friendship if I was OP. Imagine taking mistress's side instead of your friends. And now let's hear the community's opinion. LXI7311 says, "You're not responsible for his lies. Kick him out and leave it." Environmental Art 591 says, "OP, she just demanded that your ex kick you out of your home so that she can move in. Do you really think someone like that deserves the kindness of a heads up? Not to mention, she's been drinking your ex's Kool-Aid for a while now and wouldn't believe anything you say anyway, so why waste your time? As for your friend, they are either a current, former mistress, a gold digger, living in the land of sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, or were never really a friend to you in the first place." CT Mom 79 says, "You do not owe the mistress any explanation at all. I think it will be funny when she finds out on her own. My guess is, the reason your partner wanted to open the relationship is so that the mistress would continue to think that your family's things were actually his. He had some nerve having her over to your apartment, regardless if they had S or not. That's so disrespectful. Sorry for the trouble you're going through, but glad you were strong enough to dump his cheating butt." Update. I did it. I had a showdown with my former best friend via text, and I confronted her about her non-existent support when I went to her with my woes. I told her that she concentrated on the wrong issue. She should have been my shoulder to cry on. She should have shown up with wine, ice cream, and a shovel. But instead, she called me a bigger douche than my husband. She tried to gaslight me, and I realized that she's always been a good gaslighter. So I interrupted her before she made me out to be the villain. I asked her bluntly, was her husband's name married when you started sleeping together? You told us that he was married before. We all knew that. But we were all under the impression that he was married and divorced before you two met. But was he still married? Is that why you related to the mistress and felt sympathy for her? Because you were her. She didn't answer me until the next day to call me a bitter and jealous bee. Wow. This was the last one-on-one interaction with her I've decided. She's been my friend since preschool, but now we need to go our separate ways, not only to save us from future hurt, but also to save our memories together from hurt. I talked to my husband too, and asked him not to make the separation difficult and bitter, that it ruins all the happiness we felt being together, because we cannot think back on 1/3 of our lives with resentment. I asked him to take my dad's offer. He offered to help him find a lease on an apartment and pay half a year's rent if he moved out without giving me problems. When I got home, he and his clothes were gone. He left an apology letter saying that he will always love me and never meant to hurt me. So I've finally been able to cry my eyes out, and it felt so good. I've been crying since I got home. I lost 2 of my closest people, but this is what happens when we hit hardships. We see people's true faces. So I, female 23, went with my now fiancé to visit his folks in his home state, and my dad actually lives in the state about an hour away. I called my dad and said I was near, and maybe we could go to this great bar and grill I heard about in the area. I saw it on diners, drive-ins, and dives, and we should break some bread and have a beer or two. So he said that he and the family would love to. I said, I came to see you, not your wife and kids. I thought we could just have a meal alone. We've not seen each other since I was 15. He said, it's all of them or nothing. I said, then nothing. Have a nice life, and hung up. So his daughter, who is 15, now texts me saying she is my sister too, and doesn't get why we can't understand that we are a family. I told her that legally she may be my stepsister, but I don't know her, nor do I have any desire to. Side note, her mom was my dad's secretary, and they had an affair. He left my mom for her. Then her mom called and asked why I was being such a jerk and not wanting to see her or my siblings. So I asked her why she was such a W word and had to go after a married man and then encourage him to not pay court-ordered child support. I also said, you are not my family, nor are your children. I called my father, simply requesting a meal as adults, to talk about our lives as they are now, not to drag up old crap. She said I was an a-hole. Extra info. Before they moved here and I was in high school, they would get me every other weekend and make me babysit the whole weekend, miss my away games, or have to take their kids with me, until I stopped going to visit them. So am I the a-hole? Sounds like father is afraid of his wife, honestly. Even if OP did have a good relationship with the wife and step-siblings, a girl needs one-on-one time with her dad. Well, if his wife wants him only for herself, she can have him, as OP should go no contact. He is not worth OP's time and energy. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Patagrind Throw says, not the a-hole. I wouldn't blame you at all if you decide to go no contact with your father. You're already too nice to even want to see him. Broke your family up and didn't pay child support. Jeez. I hope your mother had a vicious lawyer. In case your 15-year-old stepsister doesn't know, tell her why. Better she knows the real reason than think you just don't like being her step-sibling due to some fault on her part. Scary Cycle says, gotta be honest, the 15-year-old is old enough to hear the truth. So if she contacts you again, tell her exactly why her or her mother and siblings will never be your family. Then go to court and demand the child support money that you're owed. Don't let him or his W get away with anything. Scarlet Snickers says, not the a-hole. Having no desire to see your father surrounded by his crew of stepfamily doesn't make you the a-hole here. Specifically requesting a solo conversation with your dad after so long without a meaningful one is perfectly reasonable. It's not unheard of that you'd want to reconnect on a personal level without the baggage of the blended family circus. I, 30 male, and my divorced father's only son. My dad was the best dad ever. He never missed visitations, always paid child support, loved unconditionally, and taught me every life lesson I know. He was also very vocal to everyone, including his friends, past girlfriends, and my current stepmother, that I was the most important and most loved person in his life. I appreciated it and felt the same way my entire childhood, but sometimes it was awkward for my stepmother. While I was in college, he developed a life-threatening cancer and wasn't given much time to live. Now, in this state, if a divorced and remarried spouse dies without a will, his or her surviving children get everything. So, naturally, my stepmother was very adamant about his need to get his affairs in order and create a will. To my amazement, he did, and when he died, he left her everything. Now, fast forward 10 years. She has recently gotten sick and created her own will, leaving everything to her new live-in boyfriend of 2 years. The house, land, farm, guns, everything my dad worked 3 jobs for while she stayed at home. All of it. I read the will, and not only me, but my children, her grandchildren, whom she loves and sees often, is nowhere to be found. I was completely shell-shocked, so I consulted a lawyer, and he found something. My father did not just create a will leaving her everything. They created a joint will together, where I inherit everything after they both die, a detail she omitted. And it's contractual. These kinds of wills, which don't happen often, can't be changed, especially after one spouse dies, probably for obvious purposes. Now, her boyfriend is very excited about her will and is starting to develop the land and improve the house. I am very excited as well. So tell me, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, also not a lawyer, but that's who I'd contact, because he will own all the materials. I don't know how that would fly for you. If anything, I'd bring this up now and make sure nothing goes further until you know all the details legally. You would be the a-hole. Get the will stuff settled, and don't let him continue to improve the property uninformed unless you really want to cloud the picture in the future, because you could create legal problems for yourself down the road. Your beef is really with stepmom, not him. Once he's been informed of the binding will, and they are binding, my grandfather had one as well with his second, much later in life wife, so his property went to his children, not hers, and vice versa. Then his improvements are being done while informed if he's still doing them. Everyone sucks here. I get where you are coming from, and it's really disturbing how the boyfriend thinks he's entitled to all of it. But you are knowingly allowing him to drop money into your future estate. I'm no lawyer, but I imagine once the estate is transferred to you, he could find something to fight. Is it worth the headache? He is kind of an innocent party in all of this, and is also being misled by your stepmother. Again, still disturbing and greedy that he is willing to take it all from you and your kids. Your stepmother is definitely the a-hole. I'd contact a lawyer and see if he will have any rights on the improvements to the property in his situation. My older brother is somewhat useless, but my parents love him. He mooches off everyone. My dad retired a few years ago and can no longer afford to support my brother and his stupidity. So ever since the last 5 years, I have lent my brother about $10,000, and he has paid back roughly $600. Well, he's getting married and he needs money for a honeymoon, like $2,000, which I can't afford, but I don't really feel like lending him that money I know I won't get back. I said no. He kept calling me and texting me saying that his fiancée deserves a good honeymoon and that I should help him out. I pointed out that my parents had paid for his degree and I had to go into debt to get mine because they had nothing left for me after he took 6 years to graduate, and that he still owes me $9,400. Finally, he gets my parents to call me and ask me for the money. I'm already low contact with them. They owe me money too. They start trying to guilt me, that I'm his little sister and I should love him enough to help, blah blah blah. After about a week of this crap, I lost it. I told them fine, I will meet him at their house and help him out financially for the last time. I showed up and we sat down at the kitchen table. I pulled out all the contracts that I made him sign when I lent him money. I also pulled out a printed copy of the check he paid me the $600 with. I said he had a choice. I could lend him the $2,000, but they had to pay me back what he owed me first, or I could tear up all of this debt to me. Huge fight. I'm an a-hole for being so mercenary. How dare I treat family in such a transactional manner? I'm a terrible person for letting him think I was going to help. Did I want to make them homeless by asking them for the $30,000 that they owe me too? Blah blah blah. I said to call me when they decide. Now I'm getting crap from family because they are telling everyone that I won't help out family. I'm a terrible daughter and sister. So I started asking everyone how much they were going to pay for his honeymoon. No, we don't mean that we should help. Just you. You're his sister. Okay, which of you guys is paying off what he owes me already? Radio silence. But I found out from my cousin that they are all talking about me behind my back. I don't care. I feel kind of crappy for getting his hopes up, though. Am I the a-hole here? Edit. He didn't pick up, so still owes me money. I've signed loan agreements with all of them. So, God forbid my parents die, I get paid before he gets anything from the estate. Not the a-hole. You need to go full no contact with these people. All you are is a wallet, and all they are is open hands. Not the a-hole. Why are you the family ATM? If his fiancée deserves a honeymoon, he should get off his butt and provide it. Amazing how generous leeches are with someone else's money. Not the a-hole, but your entire family certainly is. Do not lend any more money out. I could care less if your brother's fiancée deserves a nice honeymoon. That's his problem, and if she doesn't like it, well, that's too bad. You are surrounded by a-holes and leeches. Don't let them guilt you. Better yet, I would cut these people out of your life. They're just toxic.